And we'll try that again. Sorry, that video completely dropped out. So we'll try again and we'll see if we can jump back into this. So where I was at was this idea of what is the optimized human, and that health and wellness and you know, the pursuits of self-awareness and all of those things are really admirable, but they are not spirituality. They're not mysticism. They're not that deep soul seeking that is what all paths lead us to. So you'll find that people will often start out wanting to work in one way or another to look after or support other people. So, you know, they'll start off in health and wellness or fitness or those kinds of things, and they'll pursue a particular path for a while. But ultimately, all paths lead to this one path, which is all roads lead home to God or to the infinite one mind. So what we're really talking about here is, what is it that creates that optimized human being? Because everyone's going to get there anyway. How do we accelerate that path? How do we move forward? And sorry, my baby was just popping his head in to say hello. What is an optimized human being to me? So when I thought about this and I was thinking about ways to talk about what happens when you activate your heart's intelligence, your intuitive intelligence, I recognized that for me, the optimized life or the optimized human is the person who places the soul at the center of their life. So the optimized human is the one who is living a soul-centered life. That path of spiritual seeking is not something they do on Sundays. It's not tangential to their careers. It's not, you know, something that they do after they've done everything else. The optimized human, the most powerful human beings on the planet, the most magnificent expressions of humanity are those who are living from that truth, from that purpose. And I love this example, you know, Elon Musk, who created Tesla and is just an absolute thought leader and change agent in every way, and one of the most powerful men in the world. You know, he tweeted recently about how meditating on the crown chakra is one of the most powerful tools he's used to create the life or reality that he has now. And so it's very, very important, if we're talking about becoming optimized, that we cannot leave the conversation of the soul or the spiritual path out. And in fact, we must begin there. We understand from the science of Heart Math Institute and other research organizations that the heart's intelligence is the highest form of intelligence that we possess. And so when we're what I call intuitively intelligent, when our intuitive intelligence is primary, or when we are able to privilege it above all else, all the other intelligences in our body, including our cranial or analytical thinking, are switched on. So we can access that genius mind, to use Joe Dispenza's term. There's really no way that we can anticipate or hope to have an optimized life, which means full functioning in all ways. Abundance, power, success, inner peace, all of those things come when we place the soul at the front and center of our seeking. For most of us, we don't do this because when we look around us at what we see in the world, the privileged soul is not the primary archetype. The mystic is not the most revered archetype. We do not look at these, to mystics and consider them to be the most successful versions of or optimized versions of the human being. And yet I would argue that it is because the mystical soul, or the pursuit of the soul above all else, is so often an inside job, it's so often a private state of affairs, that we don't necessarily see that the most successful people in the world are the ones who are putting their soul nature at the front and center of their life. We might know them for being incredibly successful entrepreneurs or business people or thought leaders or Oprah, for example, but these people, when we dig a little deeper, are always placing their soul nature at the center of their reality. So if you are trying to create an optimized life, the most successful version of life, no matter what that measure of success is for you, and you're putting everything else before your soul, or you have this wishy-washy relationship with your non-negotiable devotional practices, if you're thinking that you can create and manifest without a consistent consistent devotional practice, then you're going to find the results are hit and miss. Am I right? Are you getting hit and miss results in your life? But I don't want to use that as a weapon against you. I don't want you to judge yourself for that. I don't want you to be critical of yourself for that. I simply want you to recognize that it's exactly as, you know, I say this to my students all the time. We're all crack addicts. We're addicted to fear. We're also addicted to the dominant paradigm. Whatever we see around us is what we attune to. Now, we don't do this because we look around us and think everything's awesome, I want to be like that. We do it because we're lazy. We're not making a choice what we attune to energetically and at the level of the subconscious mind. Mostly we are in survival mode. Mostly we're just operating from those lower three chakras. We're just trying to get stuff done. We're just trying to get enough money to pay the bills. We're just trying to keep on top of our eating so that we don't, you know, gain 10 kilos every time we look at the fridge. We're just trying to keep it together in our relationships. We're just trying to hold it together in, you know, whatever part of your life, career-wise, whatever you are trying to hold it together. That is the opposite of optimized, yeah? That is not an optimized life. That is a life in survival mode. And we have moments of gloriousness, moments where our lives might transcend the chaos of human reality, but we see those as exceptions, and I don't want that for you. I don't believe that's possible. Sorry, my giant dog just needs to go out. Rufus, what would a live from the Institute be without my giant Afghan needing to leave the room? So the optimized life is one in which we are not simply in that survival mode of just meeting our basic needs, of just trying to hold it all together. What we are doing is we are no longer reacting to the circumstances of our life. When we're in an optimized state of being, we are manufacturing the circumstances of our life. By taking our consciousness out, we unplug ourselves from the dominant paradigm, which is a fear-based paradigm at this point in time on the planet. It does not have to be that way, but right now it is. And if we want to contribute not only to changing that dominant paradigm, and to, because they cannot be separate, so I'll say and bringing our lives into an absolute state of miracle-mindedness where every moment is full of that grace, then we must be willing to become consciousness engineers. We must be willing to take back our personal power and no longer just plug into whatever is dominant and then have moments where we sit down and meditate and feel free or emancipated. It's entirely possible, using or living from our heart's intelligence or our intuitive intelligence, to hold our consciousness at such a high vibrational state that we are no longer victims to or simply reacting or receiving the world. We are manufacturing that reality. Now, no matter where you are in your life, you can get better at doing this. We can all get better at doing this. And when we become masterful at it, that's when we start seeing a life of miracle after miracle after miracle. And we're no longer expecting miracles, we're no longer, seeing miracles as the exception. We're expecting miracles as part of our daily waking life. This is not pie in the sky. This optimized human that I speak of is simply the human who has chosen to change their perception about who and what they are. They are no longer matter dominant. They are no longer addicted to the level of form. They are no longer wedded to that level of chaos at the level of form. And so they're able to hold their consciousness at the level of 5D reality, which is simply saying that we are holding our consciousness at the level of pure consciousness. We are more energy than matter. And it's only when we make that leap, that from that state of being to this state of being, that we're able to live those optimized lives. We're in a state where no matter what has happened to us, no matter the story of our life, no matter the events of our life, which we store in those lower three chakras, we are no longer victims of reality. We're no longer trying to be healed. We're no longer continually going with all our creative energy to that infinite field saying, fix me, I'm broken, I've got this problem, I need to fix that problem. And instead we're like, well, what's the new paradigm that I want to create? Instead of responding or reacting continually to the things that I believe I did not receive, I am now going to come into a state where I am choosing what I inhabit. We are addicted to the dominant paradigm, not because we are bad, not because things went wrong, but simply because it is dominant. And until we are aware that it is dominant, we cannot change the story. So I want to talk to you a little bit about the way that I can support you to change the story. And that is the Initiate program. This program is 12 weeks of small group mentoring with me. Now, I don't do private sessions anymore. This small group mentoring is the most intimate time that you can get with me. And I love doing this work because when we gather together in the group energy, we create that paradigm of change. At the moment, the enrollments are open. This only happens twice a year until February 1st. And I am so excited about this program. It's because it is my daily personal practices, okay? It's my daily personal practices writ large. It's the contents of Spiritually Fierce, the book that I published last year, but broken down into that scaffolded program that's going to help you break your addiction to being plugged into the dominant paradigm. It's how we unplug ourselves from the illusion and we start waking up. It's an accelerated awakening program, and I've just got some FAQs here, the frequently asked questions about this program. This is only the second time ever that it's been offered, and it's, you know, it is a game changer. The responses that I get to this program are so freaking powerful, because it's the beginning of us emancipating ourselves from that form dominant life. You know, to be initiated or ordained, if you like, is to be initiated so that we can see beyond form, beyond matter, to the spiritual dimension of all life. And when we're living like that, when we're looking with spiritual sight at the world, we change our relationship with everything. Suddenly we can see the deeper meaning of everything, and our next steps, our actions that we need to take in order to live that optimized life become so clear. It is just a program that cannot be done too often. So yes, Katie Cruz, you can join this one, but let me give you, you know, I'll send you a message about it, because of course if you've done this program before, you do get it at a much cheaper price. But it's so freaking powerful, because we have to be scaffolded. Like, we don't send drug addicts out into the street with 50 grand and say, just go and do your rehab, good luck with that, let's see how you go with $50,000. Just because we know we need to awaken and emancipate ourselves from fear and activate our intuition as a result of that, doesn't mean that we're going to know how to do it, or even if we know how to do it, that we're going to be consistent enough. You know, the majority of my clients are incredible women who are awakened to the truth that they are intuitive powerhouses, but they are stuck in that paradigm where they cannot live from their intuition. They cannot trust their intuition to the point where they can live this optimized life. And so what this program does is it gives you that accelerated kick up the bum that's going to take you from living in survival mode in those lower 3 chakras and moving into this paradigm. So the questions I get asked about this, the first question is this an introductory or beginner program? No. This program is for anyone, wherever you are on your spiritual path. And as I say, this is just everything I do every day. So I use all of these tools every day. And when I stop using them, I start becoming more form, more matter, and I become dense, and I get frustrated with the world, and I can't figure out why, you know, things like my body will start to put on weight, and I'll get grumpy in my relationships, and I can't clearly hear the next steps of my life, and things start to go wrong. I just have to go, oh, that's right, I've just stepped away from those devotional practices. And instantly your consciousness wants to be at that higher vibrational state. So the moment you step back into those practices, it's not like you have to earn it. It's not like when we stop going to the gym and then we have to earn that 6-pack back again. You instantly go back into that higher vibrational state. So this is not an introductory program. This is like boot camp for your soul. And no matter how many times you've done it, you will get something out of doing it again. But regardless of where you are, whether you consider yourself to be a beginner, a neophyte on the spiritual path, or whether you consider yourself to be a freaking master, this program will serve you, because you're simply inviting another accelerated leap forward. Another question that I get asked about it is the format of the training. So you get each week from February 2nd, you get a lecture, which is pre-recorded. That is 30 minutes. It's an incredible discussion of the key areas. So we're looking very closely at the immutable laws, the 3 immutable laws, this ancient occult wisdom that we should all have been initiated into as children. These are the laws of the cosmos. These are the central laws that hold everything together. And it's entirely, it's entirely possible when we master these laws that we become manifesting gurus, that we are absolutely in a state of miracle mindedness all of the time. And yes, you can do it at the same time as the 3rd level, because it's the prerequisite for the 3rd level, and you've done it, Verity, in the 2-day format, which is no longer available. It's now this 12-week format, which from the feedback I've received is much more powerful, because of course in order to keep consistent you need check-ins every week. So you get the practices that go alongside the lecture, you get the workbook that keeps you accountable and gives you a space to reflect, and then every Wednesday you get that small group mentoring with me, and this is where we will respond to your specific questions. So that is the format of the training. So you're getting 15 hours of mentoring with me over that 12-week period for a very, very low price. You can't do private sessions with me anymore, but if you did, my rate for a private session is $495. So this program is $14.95. So you're getting 15 hours over 12 weeks with me, and that is designed to basically that's designed to liberate your consciousness so that you become capable of engineering reality. Now, you probably, all of the people who are listening, agree that that is entirely possible, yes? But is the evidence there in your life? Are you actually seeing that evidence? And until you're seeing the truth that you have engineered everything in your life, and that means there's probably a lot more that you would change or like to bring into your life, then you are not at that optimized level. And that's really where we want to be inhabiting. And that's what we as the spiritual leaders of our age need to be doing. Our lives need to be the evidence to all of those around us, including our clients, including our friends and our family. If you want to change the world, be the living, breathing demonstration of what you want the world to inhabit. There's no point going around to someone's house and knocking on their door and saying, this is how it should be, when your own life is not congruent with that. The work is always of the self. And so it's very hard for us sometimes to privilege ourselves above others, to give over a financial commitment to a program that is for personal change. So I want you to change your mind about that as well. You are the catalyst for change for everyone around you, and your optimized life is the most powerful demonstration of what is possible, and makes you an irresistible magnet to your clients. It makes you an irresistible magnet to the people that you love to also come into that congruent state. But beyond just changing their perception about themselves, you're actually changing the energetic paradigm. So this is what an optimized human does. When we're living a soul-centered life, it is literally the vibration that we hold that changes reality for everyone, including ourselves. So it's not in the doing. It's not the things that we do. It is the state of being that we hold. So that's what I wanted to share with you today. I think those are the top questions about the Initiate program. If you do have interest in it, please send me a message, or you can find more information at Intuitive Intelligence, Institute for Intuitive Intelligence.com/initiate. If you want to share this with your people, please do. There is going to be a big announcement about another webinar you can do with me coming up in 1 week's time, in order to get more insight into what happens in this program, because this is really about, I guess above all else, I designed this for people who want to be exceptional intuitives. There's a lot of good intuitives out there, but I am interested in changing or leading the revolution in excellence in the intuitive sciences. So if you want to be an exceptional intuitive, if you want to be able to sit down with a client and diagnose exactly what's happening and give them the tools to change it, then this program is the starting point. This is the prerequisite for the 3rd level as well. So if you are interested in going on that year-long journey with me to become a contemporary priestess, an intuitive master, to really spend that year meeting your own shit and accelerating your awakening, which all of my priestesses I'm sure will attest to, and then bringing your life into that optimized state. We're halfway through with my current intake of priestesses, and we're still in that state of absolute everything sort of chaos and beautiful chaos, and it's all being turned on its head in order to discover the truth, the power, the optimized self beneath all of that. And this is just a foundation course. It is not a beginner's course, but you cannot come further into the Institute with me until you have been initiated into this wisdom that you should have received at the beginning of your life. This ancient occult wisdom combined with this leading edge science of intuition meets in the Initiate program, and it is an incredible community. And as soon as this process begins, you begin to see how much you've been living in survival mode versus living that optimized life. Any questions, let me know. Thank you so much for joining me live. Mwah. Have the most beautiful day.